What's going on YouTube? It's Sean, and in today's video we're going to learn about how I meal prep, and today's recipes are going to be a turkey chili along with a vegan recipe that I found on Avant Garden. This is going to be a variation of kind of their recipes and how they also prefer to meal prep. It's super simple, super easy, and super sustainable, and hopefully you're able to take some of the elements that are in this video and implement them into your own meal prep. So to start with the turkey chili, I like to get the things that are going to take the most time up out of my meal prep done first. So for the turkey chili, we're going to cook the turkey, and then we'll go ahead and cook the quinoa after that. Basically, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just going to throw the turkey on the pan with some nonstick spray and dice that up, and then we'll go ahead and move towards some of the more complex elements, right? Putting the beans, corn, and tomato in there. Super easy, super simple, and we'll also add a bell pepper as well as a jalapeno, so that way we get some of those flavors, as well as a little bit of cayenne pepper, cumin, and a little bit of cinnamon to kind of balance off those flavors. Time to chop up the peppers. I absolutely hate chopping things up, but I have heard that you can speed it up if you just kind of like... Alright, so the turkey's done, and so is the quinoa. And so we're going to go ahead and start putting the chili together, and I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of proud of myself because I only set the fire alarm off one time while making the turkey, so pretty good. So with the turkey done, we're going to make about 6 servings. So I'm going to add about 6 ounces per serving. So I should have about 36 ounces of turkey inside of this pot of chili. Looks like we got about 36.5 ounces, a little over. So I'm going to go ahead and use that along with some organic diced tomatoes, some black beans, kidney beans, and some corn, as well as these peppers that I chopped up just a moment ago. And I'm going to go ahead and just throw that all into one big bowl or pot and cook it up, keep it at a simmer. And while I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and get my tofu and quinoa prepared, and I'll also discuss a little bit the alternatives that we can also have outside of just sticking to tofu and quinoa. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so the chili's at a simmer, so I'm going to go ahead and cook up some tofu. This isn't going to be everybody's like wheelhouse, right? We have about 70 calories per serving. This should have 5 servings in it, but let's say that you're not really into tofu, you think it's disgusting. I personally don't mind it. My grandma used to make it growing up, and so it's kind of like it's like a normalized food for me, so I'm not too worried about it. But let's say that you don't like tofu. Well, you can always cut up a rotisserie chicken or even cooked chicken breast if you wanted to, and replace the tofu for chicken. I'm gonna have about 4 ounces or 3 ounces of tofu, but you can add about 4 ounces of chicken. The only thing I will say is take into consideration your calories, right? So the chicken's gonna be a little bit higher calorie than your tofu's gonna be. So that means that you should probably take that into consideration as to how it's gonna play out for the rest of your day. For me, again, I like tofu, so I'm gonna stick to 5 servings of tofu, cut up, throw a little bit of turmeric on there, and put it on a pan and just kind of like heat it up and get it nice and toasty on each side. So that way it's like a crisp brown color, and that'll go with my quinoa as well as some spinach and tomatoes. Alright, so while all of that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting some quinoa into my meal prep container here. And I'm gonna put about 4 ounces in, nothing crazy. You can put more or less in if you want, it's kind of up to you. But I do want to take this moment to kind of talk about exploring your options whenever it comes to meal prep. This week it's quinoa and tofu and chili, but next week it might be chicken and a turkey recipe, and the week after that it might be some type of like, you know, low calorie, reduced fat cheese, whatever. I don't know. You know, I like to keep a variety of meals, and I've learned after doing this for almost 4 years straight that the best thing to do is keep your options open, right? You want to find different protein sources, you want to find different carb sources, because you're going to get sick of eating the same thing all the time. And so I try to find a recipe that I really enjoy, but also one that's going to be easier and quicker to cook. And that's kind of why I'm cooking tofu today, you know, like just trying to explore my options and my routes and keeping an open mind, because I feel like a lot of people don't want to do that because being a vegan or being a soy boy is like, you know, a bad thing. But at the end of the day, like, as long as I'm getting in enough protein and I'm in a slight calorie deficit whenever I'm cutting, or a slight, surplus whenever I'm bulking, I really don't care what I'm putting into my body as long as I enjoy eating it, and as long as, you know, it's something that is sustainable for me. So when you're doing this, definitely keep that in mind. It's one of the most important lessons about meal prep, is making sure that whatever it is you're doing is sustainable long term. And, you know, in order to do that, you definitely have to keep your options open and explore different avenues. So meal number one's done. Obviously, this is the vegan option. You can see that I try to play a little bit with the colors and things like that. This is a micronutrient heavy meal, as well as a little bit of protein from the tofu and things like that. And it's just going to be lower calorie, higher volume, easier to consume on the move, because you can serve this cold or hot if you wanted to. So that's kind of why I have this as sort of a go-to meal, because it allows me to take it on the road, and if I'm not, you know, able to access a microwave, I can kind of just pull it out of like a cooler, and it'll be kind of cool and kind of refreshing, as opposed to, you know, like relying on some type of microwave or something along those lines. Alright, so I'm all cleaned up, meal prep's done, and I am set for the week. I do want to point out a couple things. First of all, again, you can always replace things inside of this recipe. If there's things that you don't like, or you have certain dietary restrictions, always feel free to substitute any recipe that you see on this channel. Another thing is, I like to meal prep for 5 days a week. I know that some of the flavor isn't like, it's not going to really stay for those 5 days, right? So if you're the type of person that is like really particular about the flavors, and you think like, man, this is not going to work out for me after like day 2 or day 3, then only plan for like 2 or 3 days of meals, and instead try to, you know, like whenever you make dinner, make extra, so that way you can have leftovers for work the next day. And you just want to make sure that whatever you're making or whatever you're cooking, you have enough protein and enough calories to hit your goal markers. So what I mean by that is, if you're in a deficit, you want to make sure that you're not putting too many calories inside of a Tupperware container, and you want to make sure that you're still hitting your protein goals. And the only way to do that is going to be measuring out all the food that you're eating. So definitely take that into consideration. And if you like today's video, definitely give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the bell notification, and I will see you all in the next video.